What's up everybody, Sam Smyers here. Today I want to show you how to make the bass to collect the commas by PAWSA. Alright everybody, welcome back to the channel, and of course if you are new here, please consider giving this video a like and also subscribing to my channel if you enjoy videos like this. Let me go ahead and play you the sound that we are going to make today. We've got two bass sounds. There's like that plucky, subby guitar bass sound, and then there is that synth, more Juno synth sound that is playing over it. Now let me just open up the MIDI. So I have some different variations on the velocity, and that will be important when I show you what I did in Serum. So these end notes have a higher velocity. This end note up top, the higher note, has a higher velocity. So that's just something to keep in mind as I start showing you how to create this sound in Serum. Now this sound, this bass could be like an old sample of a guitar bass, and you could even try finding like a muffled, distorted, vintage sounding guitar bass one shot and then loading it into Ableton's sampler, and you could probably get a similar sound. So now the bass by itself, sounds like that. And then let's go to this next one, which I'm calling it maybe like a Juno synth. I do have these end notes again with higher velocities. The velocity will be important as I'm showing you how to make this in Serum. And let me play this by itself as well. Mono sound, but has almost like a mono chorus feel to it, and I will show you how to do that, how to replicate that in Serum, because the chorus in Serum, when you add on that effect, it is a stereo effect, so you can't really put it into mono. So I had to do like a workaround for that. And those two bass sounds, I do have them grouped together, and I just have a kickstart 2 on both of them. I'll play them both together. This is just at 40%. I'm adding a bit of sidechain compression just when I played it for you for the drums earlier, so that it would sound like it was playing along with the drums. Now let's go ahead and break down the guitar bass part, and I will just create this from scratch. I made this in Serum. So let's initialize this preset. I will take down the octave -2. That's just my preference, so I can play it on my keyboard, and it will have bass notes on my keyboard. Now let's take down the randomness, turn up that level. The oscillator, I'm going to do analog basic shapes, and I will do a square wave, and then I will go to PWM, add on some PWM, pulse width modulation. Put that about 25, and let's go ahead and play that. A bit loud. Then I'm going to put this voicing onto mono just because it's a bass sound, and if it's a bass lead, I usually just put it onto mono if I'm not going to be playing multiple notes on top of each other. This attack, just maybe put it onto 1, maybe take down this decay, and this release, give it a bit of release, take down this sustain, and give it a curve. So we're sitting around there. The reason why I take down the sustain is so that we get this additional pluck feel from the bass, as if, because when I'm trying to design this sound and modulate it, try to replicate it, assuming that maybe it's like a bass guitar. When you play a bass guitar, you're plucking the strings. So that initial pluck sound is going to be louder, and then it's going to get quieter after that pluck. So that is what I'm just trying to replicate with this envelope, taking down that sustain, because envelope 1 is going to deal with your volume. Then envelope 2, I will take this one down, adjust this attack and this decay, put this around 410, and maybe curve it a bit. Then in this envelope 2, I will assign to the PWM, and I will set that modulation to 10, about there. And now we're getting more of that sound as if we're almost like playing and plucking a string. That initial like buzziness that you would hear if you're plucking a string. Of course, that's really bright. And what we need to do is add on a MG-Low 24 filter. I want to add on key tracking so that when I play notes lower, we have more of a filter, and notes higher, then it gets a bit brighter. And for this cutoff, let's set this to like 180. Raise up this resonance. Raise up that drive a bit because I raised up that resonance. Then I want to assign this velocity to the cutoff, and this is why I was showing you earlier in the MIDI, I adjusted that velocities, because now if I play a note with a higher velocity, it's going to be even brighter because I'm assigning this to the cutoff, this velocity modulation. Now in the effect section, I will add on a distortion, tape saturation. Drive is at about 35%, mix is at 25%. And then I feel like for a lot of PAWSA's bass sounds, I feel like they're always low cut. This adds to that minimal feel where you have the low end of his tracks being consumed mainly by the kick of his drums. So I cut off actually a lot of this low end and then just made an additional cut around to 300 hertz. So you can hear what that sounds like. And that's how we get that like guitar bass sound. Let's move on to that synth sound with like the plucky notes melody that is playing on top. And let me go ahead and let's just loop this section. Actually, let's loop this section, just a random section. Let's initialize this preset, put the voicing onto mono because we're making a bass sound. Basic shapes, I'll put it onto a saw wave, -2 octave. Just my preference, you could leave that alone. Just something to note is that if you have key tracking turned on and you're playing around with these octaves, that it's going to affect your key tracking. So you might have to, if you don't put this at -2 octave, then you might have to play around with where this filter cutoff actually is, because I'm going to add on this filter cutoff and turn on this key tracking eventually. So let's go ahead and just put this on to 5 voices of unison, take this detuning down, turn up this level because, like I said, it has a bit of a chorus effect, but it's mono. And what I found is that if I take this down to 0, the width down to 0 in the oscillator section in the global, and have on some voices of unison, then we can get like a mono chorus sound because we have like all the voicings phasing against each other. And then what I'll do for oscillator B, I will put on basic shapes, put on a square wave, and then do -1 octave and adjust this fine tuning a bit so we get even more bit of phasing between oscillator A and oscillator B. And raise this up to 4 voices of unison. Why did I pick 4 voices of unison and not 5 voices of unison? Because I wanted to, because why not? You could do 5. I think almost like if within a couple of voices of unison, when you have both these oscillators on, then it's almost like I can't really hear much of a difference. So I'm just going to put on 4 because I did that and it sounded good to me. So let's raise up the level now. And what I want to do is put on this PWM, and let's raise up this PWM. I will raise this up to like 70%. Now let's adjust my envelope 1, gonna give it some release. Adjusting that sustain again, gonna take down this decay. Adjust that attack, then envelope 2. Similar, envelope 1 and 2 are going to be similar shapes to that first sound. Give this one a bit of release, adjust the decay, put that at about, let's do 300, I think, milliseconds. Adjust that attack a bit. Then let's go to the filter, add on the MG-Low 24 filter, turn it on for A and B. And then I want key tracking on again. Then for my cutoff, set this to about 94 and assign envelope 2 to the cutoff. Adjust this modulation to 30. Makes it a bit quiet. Let's add on a bit of drive. And then same thing on this one, I'm going to just add on the velocity to the cutoff and do 10. So let me play this on my keyboard. You can hear it a bit brighter for those higher notes, and I'm getting that because of this key tracking. Then for this one, in the effects section, I will add on the tape saturation just to give it more of a vintage feel by adding a bit of distortion in there, or saturation. This drive is at 25%, mix is at 20%. Didn't change the level. Then I added on EQ again, cutting off that low end, and I felt like I needed a mid-range boost, and that's about 660 dB of gain, so quite a bit of gain in that mid-range. And then I might add on a compressor just to help with any, make sure it's not clipping this master section. So that's how you make the bass sounds to collect the commas by PAWSA. This minimal tech house sound is becoming very popular lately, so hopefully this tutorial will help you when you are crafting your next song in this style. If you do want to grab these presets, I will put them in my Patreon. If you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and give it a like, and also please subscribe to my channel if you are not yet subscribed. And if you'd like to check out any of my Serum preset packs, head on over to store.samsmyers.com.